What's going on, guys? Connor Wells here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. If we're just meeting, it's nice to meet you. My name's Connor Wells. I'm a photographer, videographer and podcast producer, and I make videos about those three subjects. So if that's something you're into, stick around. We're coming towards the end of 2022 now. It's been a better year than the last two, so that's a positive. But as we move into 2023, I feel the photography industry is definitely going to be changing quite a bit. Some things for the good and some things for the bad. So we're going to be talking about some things that I think may happen in 2023. Number one is the rise of vintage. With every new generation of digital cameras, we see higher resolution and better specs. Digital cameras are more versatile and convenient than ever before, and yet film photography still continues. Okay, not as popular as it once was, but it's far from dead, and with developments of digital technology, if film was going to die, it'll be dead already. Modern digital cameras are amazing. The possibilities make us feel like we're living in tomorrow's world. But for some photographers, it's just not as satisfying. Film photographs have texture and quality digital photographs have not been able to replicate yet. And it's not just the images, it's the process too. Digital photography can be super easy and convenient, but some still prefer the manual approach. You have to get to know your camera, and you have to take care of each shot. It's more tactile and less disposable. And it's not just 35mm and medium format photography making a comeback. Even the antique process of wet plate photography is seeing a resurgence in popularity. If you have a little look on your Instagram feed, how many people put in their caption, and even on Twitter to be fair, how many people put in their caption, shot on film or shot on 35? What the future holds for photography can be exciting. Things we thought were impossible a few years ago are now becoming a reality. But something is also being lost. New technology makes photography fast and convenient, but the digital space is cold and sterile. You're losing the personality and warmth that result from the hands-on process. That's why many people are returning to film and analog photography. Other major brands are strictly digital these days, but in the future I can definitely see camera brands trying to capitalize on the vintage trend in photography. The next thing is the reduced demand for professionals. There are many ways to make a living as a photographer, from weddings to journalism. There are many ways your camera can actually generate income, obviously. But the photography industry is already starting to change, and in some cases, not for the better. For many photographers, the development of camera technology has been a blessing. They can be more productive and reduce outgoings, but it's not all positive. Good cameras are easy to find and relatively cheap to buy, but smartphones are even able to perform professional photography tasks, both when taking pictures and for the post-processing as well. People and companies can take a great picture themselves. They no longer need to hire a professional photographer every month on a content plan. And as we head into the future, this trend will continue further. It won't be the end of the professional photographer, there will always be a need for camera masters. But many photographers with smaller or newer businesses will have to find new ways of appealing to those future clients. Photographers will have to work harder to make their work stand out. In a world where everybody can take a picture on their phone, photographers will need to provide a point of difference. There is still a place for professionals in the future of photography. New niches will open up and new opportunities will appear. But general demand for photographers will reduce over time. One thing that I'm implementing into my business, and we'll talk about this later, is Instagram Reels. I offer in some of my photography packages the select amount of photos, the select amount of time, and also a handful of Instagram Reels to go alongside the shoot, because of the rise of short form content. The next thing that I think will happen is smartphones will kill off compact cameras. Now, the future of photography isn't bright for everyone. I remember years and years ago, I had a small little compact Sony camera. It had built-in effects in it, how you can edit your photos in the camera. And I feel with the rise of people using their smartphones to create content, the compact camera market is going to be a shrinking minority. Since 2010, digital camera sales have fallen by, actually, have a guess in the comments below. Let's take a moment. Welcome back. Digital camera sales have fallen by a staggering 80%. And it's not because people are taking fewer pictures. That's actually the opposite. People are taking more photos than ever, but now everybody uses their smartphone. Why carry around an extra piece of gear when you already have a camera in your pocket? The first phone cameras were no match for specialist compacts. But now the tables have turned, or as a wise man once said,
how the turntables.
And phone technology has progressed by leaps and bounds. The latest phones are capable of near professional level image quality. It's not just about uploading selfies on social media. You can take high standard photos for professional purposes. I mean, iPhones and even Androids can shoot RAW. Social media is also becoming a hub for young professionals. Speaking of a hub for young professionals, if you're looking to get into the photography business, or if you're an up-and-coming videographer, or just a creative in general and are looking for a place to go, a community, feel free to join my Facebook page, Create, Sleep, Repeat. It's a great little community of like-minded individuals, and it's free. All you need to do is just join. You can post your work, you can get constructive criticism on your work, or if you've just got a query about a client email or not sure on how to get more work, somebody in there will be able to help you. Fitness gurus and influencers can run their businesses from their phone. They don't need to transfer images between devices. They can take a picture and upload it to their account in seconds, and that includes the editing and processing as well. Compact cameras are even losing their appeal with casual snappers. There's no need to take your camera on holiday these days. You can share holiday snaps of your loved ones in real time using your phone. High standard DSLRs, and we'll touch on that later, and mirrorless cameras are not in danger, sort of, but their future is assured. But I fear that the sun is setting on the day of compact cameras. Now, like I mentioned about DSLRs are dead. Don't get me wrong, DSLRs are still great cameras, and the DSLR certainly won't be victim to the swift and uncaring wrath of the market forces in the same way as digital compact cameras. Canon and Nikon are still making excellent DSLRs. They're creating cameras that will continue to perform well for years to come, but the tide is definitely beginning to turn. Mirrorless cameras are constantly dominating headlines, whether it's for good or for bad. They're starting to break all records for resolution and image quality. Fujifilm has sensed a change in the wind for years. They no longer produce DSLRs. They now focus their energy on mirrorless cameras. And Sony stopped making DSLRs years ago, and I'd say they are the market leaders when it comes to mirrorless cameras. Now, as well as DSLRs, Nikon and Canon do have mirrorless cameras. It's not just the image quality that's drawing people away from DSLRs. Mirrorless cameras have a smaller and lighter footprint. Another bonus is the noise. Without the mirror, you're able to shoot absolutely silently. For sports and wildlife photographers, a silent camera is a must-have. For example, if you're a wedding photographer, you're trying to be as unobtrusive as possible, and with the shutter going off and the mirror flipping up and down every 5 seconds, you can distract the wedding party from what's actually meant to be the focus. You can get a perfect shot without scaring any animals, distracting a player, or ruining a wedding. DSLRs still have a better battery life, only slightly, but it's only a matter of time before that changes too. If you're thinking of buying a DSLR, I mean, sure, go ahead. They're still excellent cameras, but I definitely think that mirrorless revolution is well underway, and I'm not sure how kind time will be to the humble DSLR. Now, the last thing I'll touch on is I feel that people will be taking less photos and will need less photos. Now, it's a little bit counterintuitive to everything I've just said there, but I do feel that's the case. It may be a hot take, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel in 2023, people are going to be taking less photos. Take, for example, Exhibit A, which is Be Real. Probably heard of this app before. Its whole premise is taking two, front and back, photos a day. You post once a day, and you can't really change where you take your picture. Once you've taken it, that's it. And that whole premise is based on taking one picture. And I feel that Instagram is definitely following suit to that. Instagram won't really push out photos to its audience anymore. If you want to grow on Instagram and actually reach your audience, the way forward is short form video. Instagram is desperately, and I mean desperately, trying to compete with apps like TikTok. Short form content, short form video is going to be on the rise. I have a podcast called the Creative Caffeine Podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where we talk to creators, videographers and photographers about the good, the bad and the ugly of the industry. And also we aim to teach you a few things, lessons that we didn't have when we were just starting out. We do film that podcast, but controversially, we film it in portrait because we know that if we post and try and promote the podcast using photos, it ain't going to go very far. So we actually film the podcast in portrait, so there's no need to crop it when we clip all the bits out for Instagram Reels and TikToks. We've only posted a handful of photos on the podcast's Instagram page, which you can find right here. And we only post Reels. We only really post Reels because they're the ones that get engagement. They're the posts that get reach. So I do fear that photos will be less needed because of the rise of short form content on Reels and TikToks. Maybe Be Real will introduce like a 5 to 10 second video of where you are at the time. It'll be an interesting concept. Now, of course, there are great apps like Vero, not really sure how to pronounce it, which strives mainly for photographers, and you can still post photos and videos there. You won't be punished with the algorithm because there really isn't one. You only see and follow who you follow. And of course, feel free to follow me on Vero as well. Now, the future can be quite scary moving into 2023 for the creative industry, but as long as you're adaptive, you'll be fine. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.